Hello and welcome to another Follow Everton video. We are here to react to the news yesterday that Ancelotti left. I'm here with Mabsy and I'm David. So, Mabsy, how are you doing?
How are we doing? Well, it's been a pretty rough 48 hours, hasn't it? So, one of them, it happens in football, but we've been here before, we'll be here again. The first thing I'm going to say is no person is bigger than Everton SC. So, we are the custodians and people come and go. We will always be the same.
I woke up this morning and I thought, I'm hoping that was a dream I've just had with Ancelotti left within one day. Like usually these things go on, don't they? And it was just kind of came out the blue in the morning and he was gone.
Well, it didn't come out the blue. It was rumored. The day before, so it was on Monday. It was breaking, but again, you don't know how spontaneous this is. I starting to hear rumours that Ancelotti's David and his wife were moving back 2 weeks ago. So in Instagram, she actually posted a tweet saying that she's leaving Liverpool. It was David's wife. I think maybe a wife or someone connected to Ancelotti was leaving Liverpool and saying goodbye to her personal trainer.
Oh.
Only 2 weeks ago. So why is David's wife saying that when he's meant to be assistant manager?
Well, there seems
so
to be
you don't know how this is not a spontaneous thing. This has been rumbling on behind Everton's back. I might say I don't believe that Everton knew about this. Again, we've been shit on. Again, I'm just going to in advance apologise for swearing today because I'm going to tell how it is, and I will swear because I'm passionate. I'm a passionate fan, and my emotions overcome me. So I really do apologise, but I'm sorry in advance.
Guys, I know there's quite a few people watching at the moment, and if you could give us your comments, that would be great. And we appreciate that quite a few of you were not happy with Ancelotti, especially towards the end of the season, and wanted to get rid of him. So we'd like to hear from you whether you were still, you're happy now, and also those other fans, how do you think this is going to affect us moving forward? Mabsy, you've had overnight to think about this now, so you've had a bit of time. What are you thinking now in general towards what's happened?
I'm still hurt. Absolutely, I'm hurt. At the end of the day, he had his project. He came out. He said all the right. As all managers do, said the right things, didn't he, at the right time? And then kind of saying, "Oh, I love Crosby. I want to lead us to the new stadium." And then he denied interest about a week ago or so ago that he wasn't going to join Madrid, and he was flattered. But he's happy at Everton. For that comment, that statement last night as well, it was just a kick in the teeth. To be honest, it was a standard bold statement. Yeah, thanks, goodbye, I'm off. Really, and there's been some fans saying, why has Everton thanked him for what he's done? Well, at the end of the day, they are a business and they've got to look commercially. And, unfortunately, it's just Everton did the animal thing. They're just everyone, I was annoyed at it and I get it. But after I've calmed down a bit, I realised that had to be said because we are a professional outfit. We are, we're Everton Football Club and no man's bigger than us. So we just, we'll go again. We've been here before and we'll be here again.
Yeah, I mean, you say no man's bigger than us, and I agree with that. But what we did have was, a 3-time Champions League winner as a manager and someone who kind of done it all in football. And I think, obviously, it was a good appointment for us, and there was always the chance that if something came around, he might be off. I think what really annoys me is, as you say, what he's been giving us like a false persona for a very long time and forming a bond with the Evertonians that he obviously didn't want to stay. I've been looking at some of his comments. Obviously, he said about the stadium, he said, I would like to be there when the new stadium opens. It would be a good achievement, I think, to finish the contract in 2024. So he was basically asking for a new contract, and he said,
You
for
got
sure,
one?
the time I
And he
spent
got
here,
one?
I feel good, and I would like to stay as long as possible.
He got
That was
one
it.
1 month ago,
Yeah,
didn't
well,
he?
he got
That's
it
what he
in his
got
off.
1 month ago.
And
So, that's, I think that's sticking in the craw of everyone. At the end of the day, we had this project. He was gonna provide this project, the dream basically, and he was going to fulfill it. He was going to fulfill it, guaranteed. The Everton prepared to back him. I've heard rumors that again he sat down with the board only last week and discussed potential targets, and Everton said, "Yeah, crack on, let's go for it."
hmm,
So you're sitting down with him, and then he just does that. Shit
yeah,
house, to be
I
honest,
mean,
shit house.
obviously, I've got my blue shades on here, but I'm looking at Madrid, and I'm thinking, if I'm Ancelotti, I know it's obviously a huge name in football, but he's been there before. He's done it. He was sacked by them.
Mistreated by them.
He's just recently come out and said how bad the Super League was, and he particularly referenced the president who was heavily involved in it, and he's running back to them now.
But this is it. This is it. This is actually the team. Let's not forget there are still 3 teams that are technically still in the Super League, and Real Madrid being one. They're not pulled out. So how? So basically, he's been saying the right things about us and about the Super League, but then he's just basically gone and took the money, hasn't he? But then he's taking the pay cut again, disrespectful to us. He's taking half his wages, half pay. He's on six. He was on 11 million a year. He's on like six. Was it 6 million euro there? So
Yeah,
it's what equivalent to half his wage cut. So again, it's just another kick in the teeth. Really, has been a blue.
yeah,
It's just I'm devastated. I'm being honest.
yeah. It is a huge kick of the teeth, and it's obviously going to set us back. Dave says he agrees with Mabsy. Carlos said all the right things, and we brought in, and then shit down all our throats. Yeah,
Absolutely, David. Spot on comment there. Yeah, he did. Absolutely. He's just, we've been wanting this project. We stuck by him. I've never criticised him, even though sometimes when I'm on the pitch, I don't get what he's doing. I just assumed he was a footballing man. He knew better than what I do. I'm just a mere mortal. And all that dross. Really, what sticks in my throat is the guy that lost to Sheffield United, yeah, has fucking joined Real Madrid. To manage them.
yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
I mean, it's almost like there's a detachment with Ancelotti's like a separate entity in the club, and he's brought James, and and he's like a separate entity as well. So it kind of the worry is everything's going to fall apart now, isn't it?
Well, at the end of the day, with James, he was always going to go after a season. He was never going to stay. And you know what spelt it out to me was the complete disregard by. Not Eve. Okay, Eve was injured. Absolutely fine. I don't know. I'm not a physio. Okay, but you look at the Hammond situation. So he leaves. So we're playing Wolves at 6:00. He's rumored to be on a flight to Colombia at 9:00 at night. That night, right? Okay, so he's saying that I wanted to go and see his daughter. Okay, no, I completely get that. I understand that. And, he wants to go and see his daughter. However, he's on a private jet. He's not on a charter flight. He's not on a scheduled flight, right? You have a respect to the fans who haven't seen you play. And if you're injured, you're there at Goodison Park, waving to them, coming on the pitch and saying, hi. To me, then he can go at 1, 2 o'clock at night. It's not going to make a difference to him. He can still just quite literally be in a taxi to the airport next day, next hour. But it just shows disregard to the fans. And for all I was concerned, I'm done with him. He can go. He was always going. Simple as. Not one fan. There's not one fan, paying fan, that's seen him play this season. What's that about? He's had 4 or 5 games where we've been in and he's been injured, quote and unquote. And then he's not been selected for Colombia because he's not fit enough. Well, what's that about? Why isn't he fit enough? It didn't say he was injured. His level of fitness. So go figure that one.
Seems to be a lot of different messes happening at the moment with Everton, unfortunately. Ripai is a fellow contributor. He gave his reaction yesterday. The whole thing appears premeditated. No way that happened in the space of 24 hours.
Right, I just agreed with you. Absolutely, mate. As I say, been brewing on the surface for 2 weeks. It's not suddenly. He even lied to us because he's saying that he was going to go to his wife's funeral in Italy, but no, he was actually in Spain. So again, it's a total disregard and the total disrespect that he's shown for us.
I just wonder whether, this has been on the cards for months, really, because I think his wife is Spanish as well, and maybe they were talking about, moving, and if an opportunity came up. And the way that the team kind of derailed towards the end of the season, it's kind of like he gave up a little bit.
Yeah, I personally, it could be. You could be right, and but it doesn't happen over. But Ripai is exactly right. This doesn't happen over 24 hours. It's virtually impossible. You've got to get your shortlist. You've got to get your man. At the end of the day, Zidane, after he lost to Chelsea, his days were numbered. So not to win anything, in Real Madrid, it was in the first 11 years or something like that. I don't know exactly, but not won anything. Yeah, I agree with Ripai. I think it's premeditated. Left it again in aging squad a mess. Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, this guy's spot on, Ripai.
Yeah, I think the squad is a separate issue as well, but this is all in terms of a 5-year project, isn't it? That we're 18 months into, and
yeah,
do you feel like we're back to square one?
We are back at square one because at the end of the day, regardless whoever comes in, are going to want their players. You're going to have to keep now. You're going to have to try and keep Richarlison. You're going to try and Digne. You're going to have to try and keep. Apparently now Godfrey's in a disarray, and then not waking in the squad. I'm fucked off at that for a start. I'm fuming over that. That's probably cost us Ben Godfrey brutally because he's probably saying, "Well, I'm playing for Everton. That's why I'm not getting the England squad." I don't know, but I think he's going to get fucked off. There's a lot of play. The DCL again. I don't know about whether he's going to stay. There's a lot of question marks over it, and also now, he's going to take charge because if we get the likes of Eddie Howe, right, the only way that we're attracting multi-million big name signings is by having the top level manager because we haven't got Europe. We have to sell the project to them, and I don't believe Eddie Howe is going to sell the project to a player of a caliber that we need to knock on and also to retain the quality that we have.
Yeah, it is going to be, and it's a huge decision now on what manager we decide to appoint. I'm looking at sort of short list now. You've got Nuno Espirito Santo, we got Eddie Howe, you just touched on, Benitez, Moyes, but he's at West Ham anyway. Conte's just come out of Inter winning the league. Graham Potter, Ferguson, Lampard, Paulo Fonseca, and Martinez.
Is Poch on there?
No, I mean Pochettino is still at PSG as far as I'm aware. He's just having a
but we're rich. But he's saying he wants to leave. At the end of the day, so let's just go through the list, shall we, of potentials?
Yeah.
So should we start with Nuno? I think personally a fucking great manager, and you know what, I would have him at the club. I wouldn't be my first choice, but again, he's got a lot of connections with the Portuguese side. Maybe he's a good manager, and he lost his way at Wolves a bit, but I think he's still that good manager. Potentially can get Jimenez over. Bring a few from Wolves. So yeah, I think he's a good shout.
With Nuno, I think from what I've seen, he likes a target man. He likes someone he can get crosses in. He has pacey wingers who are tricky, get crosses in, score off them. And I think we could play on that. I think he could work with that. It's not a Hollywood name, but he might be able to settle us down for a couple of years and not be rushing to go off somewhere else at the first opportunity. So you've said Eddie Howe, you're not convinced, were you?
No, not Eddie Howe. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Again, I think a few years back, yes, I would love Eddie Howe. I think he's a blue. I know that's important. I get that, but too negative. He struggled at Bournemouth. I know they had player issues. I know that, but Mark Johnson, Santos player will take you so far. Yeah, okay, no, I get you, but
so.
But again, but Mark, wouldn't he push us on for a bit? Get him on a 2-year contract, push us on to that next level, and then we can get someone in. A top level manager that we have got. Then I don't know, maybe
we've got because again, it's as well. He said the same perspective. New managers are being recycled from 2013 with Charleston off, Dean off, left with the Crabs.
Yeah, okay, so let me point on that. So they're saying, there's rumours that they all want to go to Real Madrid, right? So that's not going to happen, is it? Let's be brutally honest, okay? Real Madrid is skint. Real Madrid we're richer than Real Madrid at the moment. They've got piles of debt. They aren't going to be able to come in for all four or five of them. You're looking at, a quarter of $1 billion minimum. Absolute bare minimum, 250 million. Not going to happen. I'm sorry, Carlo was not being offered that war chest to be, and he's only getting half. He's only getting half what he's getting at Everton. Don't think they're all going to be off. I don't think Real Madrid can afford our prices. Personally, I think
Mark is making an interesting point, though, and I see you watching on YouTube. If you could give us a like and subscribe if you haven't, that would be great. But what he says about the same managers, they are the same managers. And you got to look, Martinez is managing Belgium, Koeman's at Barcelona, and Ancelotti's now at Real Madrid. It's got to be the Crabs that are causing these issues. It can't just be the managers now. There's too many managers have been in 5 years, and the same Crabs are still at the club.
Yeah, you're right. But at the end of the day, it's hard to get shut of the so-called deadwood because they're on fucking stupid amounts of wages Steve Walsh gave them. The shit. Who's going to actually want to buy them for what wages they're going to be on? Unfortunately, we are stuck with them until the end of their contracts. But the likes of Sigurdsson, I don't understand how the fuck he gets a new contract. Still don't get that. If someone can enlighten me, please, I'd be very interested.
Jonathan says, would you take Nuno?
I would, yeah.
Jonathan, would you take Nuno? Let us know in the comments. I think I would. I think he's probably the most, I would say, stable. Sorry. I think the danger with going for Conte, and I'm not saying Conte is going to even come, but with someone like that, we've just had that. And I think what happened was we had 18 months where the club was almost dependent on that one person, that one manager is holding everything up. And we can't rely on that again, really, because we just pull the plug.
I get it.
Go back to square one. So
I get, but however, our contracts are shite. Have you seen? Did you hear the rumors that was going around that we only got 2 or 3 million because it was in his contract that if a Champions League club came and knocking, he could go for 2 or 3 million. Now, if that wasn't a fit up, I don't know what it was.
That sounds ridiculous.
I don't know if it's true. I just heard it as a rumor. But the thing is, it's Everton, isn't it? We are not commercially savvy, and I probably think that's fucking true. I wouldn't be shocked if that was true, because I love Everton. I just don't think we lack that commercial instinct, that ruthlessness that other clubs have. You look at Kitbag. That's the worst fucking deal that we ever had. And instead of binning it off and then bringing it in house when Mashiri came on, he goes and signs it again. and then they rebrand as Fanatics. It's a stupid idea. You need to bring your merch in house to capitalize on the merch, on your merchandise. And if you're a company taking what 10-20% of your bottom line, it's crazy. There's no commercial sense in it.
No, I think we are prone to having ourselves stamped all over, which is really not good at all.
I mean, you look at those dickheads across the park. I mean, as much as I hate them, they're fucking great business people. I admire them for being business brains because we haven't got a sense of commerciality in us. You know what? If we're paying you £11 million a year, then I don't expect there to be a release clause of 2 or 3 million if a Champions League comes knocking. No, sorry, not at all. What are your thoughts on that, people? That contract's ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, Mark. And again, I don't know if it's 100% true from what I've heard, but I think we can all probably assume that it is true. But again, I don't know. But again, we just lack that. The way that the deal was done quickly, it's got to be true, hasn't it? Face it. There's no negotiation. There wasn't any negotiation on his releasing. It just went to be, yeah, done. There we go. That's why he isn't though, is he? Is Mashiri a rich man, or is he just is he a front for? He's not. He's an accountant, but there's no commercial sense. I don't see the commerciality in the club, and unfortunately, as everyone goes on, well, football is football, but yeah, it's also the reality is it's also a business.
Yeah,
and you've got to have that commerciality about you.
I think we've got some more comments to pick up on soon. Yeah. We will get to them, but let's just carry on looking through a few more of the managers, and then we'll come back to.
Sorry, I'm ranting, by the way.
Over discussion. No, it's all good. So the next ones on what the bookies are saying we're on for is Benitez and David Moyes.
Benitez will take him all day.
I mean, he's local. He lives here. He's out of work.
Okay. Yeah, and you know what? He wants this job, and you can tell that because apparently Benitez kind of said he, quote unquote, reiterated what he meant by a small club. He meant small squad, not a small club. Funny that, isn't it? He's now said that, and I forgive him for it. And I'll tell you what, I think he'd do a great job with us. I'll probably get hate for it, but there we go. I do believe that Benitez will come in and do a job for us. He's a good, decent manager. I do think that personally. Fat Spanish waiter, yeah, very good one, Mark. What are your thoughts, Mark? Do you think? What are your thoughts on Benitez apart from Fat Spanish waiter, which is fair enough? But comments, come on.
I mean, he did win the Champions League with Liverpool. I don't know. You know, it's kind of like. It's really strange one for me to take that.
On the night, it's strange because you've got all them saying, "Oh, he's going to be the agent Benitez, isn't he? Going the one to take us down and all this." Just no, I think they're actually quite nervous of him going there. Again, it's their like deflection of scaredness. They don't criticize directly, but they say the most spiteful, horrible things to us. So it's like they don't want us to go down as much as we don't want them to go down as much as we fucking hate them. Well, to be fair, I do want them to go down, but he wouldn't take us down. Not a chance. A marriage of convenience, yeah.
There's a marriage of convenience. Not convinced he would be the right man long term. I think I'm more on your page, Mark, because he just lives here. He's waiting around to snipe that job. There's just something about it that doesn't quite agree with me. I think I would prefer Nuno myself, but anyway.
Yeah, out the two, I think you have Nuno because I think he hasn't got the taintedness of the shite, to be honest. So, yeah.
So, Moyes is at West Ham.
He'd come. I think Moyes will come, but again, I'm kind of being... I don't want Moyes. Moyes is being a snake like the rest of them. he kind of he did the shit on us. Let's be honest, because he wound his contract down with us. He then took the nice job, went on a free, then tried to come in for Baines and Fellaini on the cheap. And then you get the offence. Well, it wasn't them; it was the board. But at the end of the day, he's picked who he wants, and he was rifling through those contracts. There's no way he wasn't, because Bill Kenwright was soft and didn't. If I was Bill Kenwright, I would have put Ron Gardner in lead straight away. But Bill Kenwright didn't, as per normal, was kept really mates with him, and then rifled through stuff that he shouldn't have been doing. He with Moyes, I think he regrets leaving, and he probably does, and I regret him leaving. But at the end of the day, we all hail this great manager Moyes, but what did he actually do? Let's be honest. He brought us consistency, yeah, but mediocrity. At the end of the day, he didn't rock the boat. Moyes kept us about 7th because he knew he's doing a great job keeping the steady in the ship, and it's. He wasn't ambitious enough because he wanted that. He coveted that United job, and I think it's a bit of a shithouse move.
Yeah, I'm not quite convinced either. I think the way he left, and then he's been up and down, hasn't he? I think he's back up now. I really don't think he will come at the moment.
I think he'd jump at the shot. To be honest, I know even though West Ham got Europe, I think he'd still jump.
I just think this squad is just a challenge, isn't it? And if you look at West Ham,
it is. We need someone. As I say, we need to hire. So we'll bring up when we're obviously on to Conte. To me, this is a no-brainer. But you obviously said he's going to do the shit again. Well, probably. But to bring in some high-level players, and he's got the experience of spending big. I think he's the ideal. Again, I've heard rumours, and again, I don't know how true it is. There's also rumours saying that he would come, but he needs support. He needs Everton to back him in the transfer market, which I don't see reason why they wouldn't.
Well, if what you're saying,
we can play the big bucks. We prove that we can play the big bucks. We're not having to pay any compensation to Ancelotti, so I think Conte's a no-brainer to me.
Well, you said before that you've heard Ancelotti was offered sort of who he wants kind of thing. Take your pick in the market. We'll try and get them. So if that's the case, you'd hope that Conte would be allowed the same sort of freedom.
Well, why wouldn't he? You don't understand why wouldn't he? At the end of the day, that I think Marcel Bands has got a lot of influence in the club. It's like the Josh King situation. Was he an Ancelotti buy? Was he a Marcel Bands panic buy? Definitely a Marcel Bands panic buy because Ancelotti didn't rate him. He's not an Ancelotti player. He didn't play, and what was the point? So I think they've got to wear. I think it's got to be said to Marcel Bands is that this time, if this has to work, Conte picks the players, and you go out and do the deals.
Yeah.
For them, I don't think Marcel Bands interfering isn't a great idea because the Josh King is a debacle, and again, we might have paid the fee. I don't know for Josh King because there's rumours that it was on a free. Again, rumours that we've paid something. If we paid something, what the actual bleep for what? And we were lucky this season. We've got away with it because DCL was remained fit through the campaign. If he had been injured, we would have been screwed.
There's an argument there to say that the signings Marcel Brands has made, the likes of King and Iwobi, have been the ones who have failed, and the ones that are so-called Ancelotti signings from last summer and your Marco Silva signing of Richarlison, and he was after Decore as well. They're the ones that have kind of worked. So, maybe we do need a manager that will come in and say, that's who I want, you go and do the deals. Because he has proved he can get some good deals. And, he's kind of restructured the way that we work with the contracts when new players come in, instead of giving them 5-year deals like Walsh did.
I agree.
So maybe that's the strategy. But
it should be the strategy.
the worry for me is any manager who comes in now probably hasn't really watched us that closely. And obviously, Ancelotti knew the problems in the squad. He knew what he wanted moving forward, and the new manager is going to come in now, and all these crabs and mercenaries we have in the club, in the squad, are going to have another chance to prove themselves, and we're going to have another year of
But
mediocrity.
are they though? To be honest with you, because again, we've got to have, we if we get someone in early, we can start working through them. During pre-season, get a few games in, get again this I believe the transfer rule's now been scrapped where it stops before the Premier League starts. I think it's now gone back to end of August. Am I right in that?
I'm not sure on that one.
Could anyone know? Because I think it has now been scrapped, but can anyone comment that's true? Or am I just making that up? Because, again, that was a ridiculous rule. It is a ridiculous rule that's still in place. But you should know that the board should be, again, but, okay, as you just said there, Marcel Ban should know who he needs to get rid of. Marcel Bands and Ancelotti must have had that discussion. So you come in and say, well, these players are your core, these players the periphery, and these are the dross, surely. Why get a director of football and not let him do his job? Well, what is his job though? But his job is to negotiate. That's his job, not to get in shite. Like we've got fucking Josh. We had Josh King.
Yeah.
So define what a football manager a job is, because if you look at the old Liverpool transfer committee, that didn't work. But I now believe Klopp picks his man and the director of football negotiates. Well, yeah, that's what a football manager shouldn't be negotiating the deal these days. That used to happen under Moyes. Obviously, everything was done by Moyes. But I'm understanding a director of football is a negotiation, not the out and out choose who plays. So it should be ultimately the managers.
At the end of the day, it's the manager who picks the team on the match day.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a player that he wants, not the director of football. I mean, they'll have to agree to an extent, but the director of football, for me, should be going to get the player and get the best deal.
What the manager wants.
Of what the manager
the director
wants.
of football goes and does what the manager says. If they want, I'm just using this as an example. I want Messi. The director of football then goes out and gets Messi. That's how it's meant to work, surely. Not for him to say, well, I quite fancy Josh King. We'll just get him on a panic. And then you choose him. I don't think that works like that. If it does, I might be completely, utterly wrong. I don't think that's how it should be working. But, people are paid more than me.
But in this case, we have the director of football in, so we've got to bring somebody in who's definitely going to work with them. And as you said, Carlo Ancelotti is going to take with his son, and he's going to take all the backroom staff. So there's not going to be any of those staff there. So it's going to be Marcel Brands' job to kind of bring the manager up to speed and say, look, this is where we were heading. These are the players we were looking to bring in. Now we need to discuss it and get your side of the argument. And we need to do that pretty quickly. Mark also says...
Need to get him in before the Euros.
We do. He says, fantastic video. Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, Mark.
So the last couple of managers I've got on the shortlist, we'll just touch briefly on. One big name there. Well, I say big name, but it's a talking point, isn't it? Ferguson. Because obviously he's already at the club and he took 10. You don't see him.
No, you know what? I love Big Dunk. I love Big Dunk. So please don't hate me for what I'm going to say. Please, I don't mean it like this. Big Dunk's not ready. And you know what? Maybe in a few years, maybe as much as I do love him and he needs to go out. I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. And it kills me to say it. He needs to leave Everton. He needs to go manage for a few years. In a Champions club, get the experience and then come back. I want him to stay. I don't, you know what I mean? Please don't, please. I'm not a Duncan hater, not by any stretch of imagination. Is it the right time? Can he spend that money? No, honestly, no. And it kills me to say it. He needs to go out and he needs to leave Everton to play his trade as a manager. And you know what? I will always follow a Duncan club because he's a man immense. And yeah, I want him as an Everton boss. I just think if we get him now, it'd be like a Frank Lampard in a way.
Mm.
You know, there's no experience there, and it just kind of puts a taint on his legacy, and I don't want that. Don't want that. I want him to go away, learn his trade, come back to us. Like Liverpool, you've got to take like the shite. The shite's a prime example of this, where you know Gerrard was on the 23s coach. You know he's had to go away and take a job at Rangers or wherever, and then he will be ready one day to take over the shite. And there's no question. I fucking hate the twat. I hate Slippy G. But again, he's gone away and played his trade at another club, and then he's going to come back. Hopefully not to fulfill his legacy. I fucking hope not. I fucking hope he tarnishes it. I really do. Fucking hate, despise the twat. But Dunk's the same. I just want him to. I think Duncan can make the plays, got his work, no doubt, but he's not going to go and get quality. Yeah, no, I agree. But that's what we need, Steve. It's what we need.
I think he's a great sort of middleman, you know, between the players and the manager. And I'm not sure how well he can do that role as actual manager long term. And I think you're probably right. He needs another job to prove himself.
Yeah, Mark, but people don't hate me, please, because of it.
Mark says, I said it. Mark wants him out. He says he failed in each part of the regime. I mean, it's true to say.
A bit harsh, Mark.
He has been involved in all those managerial regimes in the last 5 years, but I don't think anyone would really pin the blame on him.
And also the question is, who are we going to get in to operate the scoreboard?
Yeah. Dave agrees with you, Mabsy. He needs to cut his cloth elsewhere and then show what he's worth in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
So the last few names, So we've also got Potter, Lampard, Paulo Fonseca, and Martinez. Do any of them sort of stand out?
Fonseca, he did shit at Roma, didn't he? He's done shit at Roma, but I don't know. Is he worth the gamble? Because he's fucking crazy. He was crazy at Shakhtar, wasn't he? Didn't he dress up as Zorro in a press conference or something? That's a good pioneering spirit that we need at Goodison. I don't know with Fonseca. I wanted him before I wanted Ancelotti, or before we got Ancelotti. He went to Roma, and he's not done the business there. But I'm 50-50 on that one. Could be convinced. Brian Potter, no. I'm sorry, but again, we need a big name. We need someone, like I said before, we need an experienced big name manager that's going to attract the players, because that's what we need to push us on to the level that we need to be at. We can't have the likes of Brian Potter. Yeah, tactically he's great, but he's not going to keep the players that we need, and he's not going to sell the club to players that we need going forward. Who else did he say? Oh, Lampard. Jury's out on that one. I don't know. Simply, I can't answer that one. I just don't know with Lampard. Again, I don't think he's had enough experience. It's a tough one, that one.
It's a really difficult decision, isn't it? Because you bring in too small of a name, and you're going to lose your players. You're not going to attract players. You might motivate some of them and play good football, but you might not work ultimately. You bring in too big of a name, and they might do an Ancelotti and just dump you.
I think this title is in limbo. We are in limbo, but at the end of the day, absolutely spot on with that title, because it's a catch-22. Damn do you do, and damn do you don't. tough. It's a tough decision with this board, and I think this is going to be a really important decision for the board as well to make this time. They've got to get it right. They've got to.
Yeah.
Got to get it right.
We have to, because we really have moved backwards now, and we've got to assess the damage. You know, the top piece has fallen out, and let's see how many pieces are going to go with it. And hopefully there isn't any pieces that go, and we can keep all the players. But, you know, we've got to face reality that it's a possibility some players might leave, and it's going to be a bigger rebuilding job than we anticipated this summer.
Yeah. As I say, it depends who is managing them, and that's it. If we get Conte, I'm assured that we're going to keep most of the players. James is a write-off. I'm not. At the end of the day, we've got him on a free. I just hope, above hope, that we haven't done a stupid deal where if he goes back to Madrid, it's on a free. Fucking hope not. I hope to God we get 30, 40 million for him. But you know what? Being Everton, you can guarantee if he goes back to Madrid, it'll be on a free, won't it? It's just the Everton way.
Yeah, I'm just going back through, seeing if there's some comments we've missed out or when we were talking about managers. There's one from Dave talking about, he disagrees that we are back to square one. We're worse off, and I think he's probably right.
To be fair, okay, probably James. Yeah, I agree with, but you don't know about Digne. I don't know. I've not actually heard anything about Digne. I don't know. Richie, well, I mean, the season he's had, who's going to want him that? It's not. I mean, he's not been great this season. Let's face it. You know, how are we going to? And we have to get rid of the deadwood. Yeah, it's a huge rebuild, and yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I do. I see where you're coming from, Dave, on that one. Yeah, no, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'll probably say we are worse off. Yeah, I agree.
I think we are. It's really frustrating, isn't it? You know,
it's like, I think, you know what, it's probably like akin to. You're an architect, well, a trainee architect, should I say? It's like building halfway through a build on a house, right? The builders have just walked off site, and now the new builders want to do, and the new architects want to do something completely different. Isn't it really akin to that? Not the same level of quality. That's a really good analogy. That, I think
it's like that, but it's worse. It's a house that had its foundations built, and then somebody else came in, built the structure. Then somebody else came in and started adding on lots of shit. So it's had like 5 different builders. So, it always comes to a point: do we just demolish the house?
And then rebuild it again. But that's what it feels like, though, doesn't it? That's exactly what it feels like. It's just like a sucker punch that we're halfway through a build here, and we're in tatters again. It's
the most frustrating one, because for me, even if Ancelotti didn't get us to, competing for the league or regularly for the Champions League, I did feel like his nous in trophy, in cup competitions, would have got us a cup in the next sort of 4 years.
We turned the corner. Let's be honest. We beat the shite at home. Fucking hell. That hasn't been done in what, 10 years? More? 20 years? 10 years? I don't know, but
20 years.
We what, sorry?
20.
Well, 20 exactly. We turned the corner there. We beat the shite at home in the Premier League. I know that's not a lot. I gotta hold on to something of this season. But that's come on, beating them, they were fuming.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Because Ancelotti actually, he had a good record against them this year, and we won away a lot of matches, and a new manager, everything kind of changes, the whole style, and there's no guarantee that anything will kind of be the same now, even with the same group of players.
Exactly.
It's just the other Dave Weston says he's a bit gutted, but not devastated. Although Ancelotti said we had made progress, I disagree. Finishing below Leeds and Arsenal is not progress. I think we've got to take.
What are you saying, Dave? No, I get that.
We were only 3 points.
Let's be honest. So let's be honest. Over Arsenal, they've always been above us. So come on, say with Leeds, you can see that. Yeah, they're that race 6 in the corner. I agree with that, Dave. Like, that does stick in the claw Like, but I think we've also got to look at the positives. I mean, we reached a higher goal score season tally than we did last season, points tally. It's got to count for something. It's been, and I know I'm not playing the blame game. Believe me, I'm not playing the blame game. But COVID has something to do with it. But everyone's had COVID. I'm not saying that we're unique. We're not, absolutely. But it was a funny old season. But everyone's had it. So yeah, no, I'm not gonna be a cop out saying yeah, but this and this. You can't use that as an excuse. But it's an explanation potentially.
It is a concern, this list that I'm looking at, that a lot of them have kind of had opportunities and kind of failed elsewhere. I'm really concerned about the state we're in right now, and it's really disheartening, isn't it? This rebuild.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, it's just here we go again with another rebuild, another just don't know what the future holds, and again, that's kind of not great for the players because they don't know who's going to be managing them when they come back from after the Euros, after their jollies, and again, that's got to be a concern to them and about their careers, and I'm not. So it's another rebuild and another.
Yeah, I know Oliver here. He's actually I know Oliver. He's a Red, but he wants us to have Nuno or Howe. So
of course
we don't want to go for either of them then.
Well, Nuno out the best of a bad bunch is Nuno. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think I could live with Nuno. I mean, it just feels a huge downgrade from Ancelotti, whoever we kind of go for, and a huge step backwards. And it's going to take some time to get over this. And as you said before, we have to get a manager in before the Euros, and then we have to do the work quickly. And it's a good job we didn't get into that Conference League, because that would be a mess, disrupting the season. So I think we're going to wrap up in a second. Is there anything else you would like to say?
I just rejected. I think we're going to do video next week, aren't we? We said we're going to have Jonathan in there. He's back up from Liverpool. When did we say that was going to be?
I think we said Monday.
When did we say Monday? Yeah, Monday, and that's going to be on what? Let's have a look. Season review and season preview. We'll see how that goes.
But all a bit out the window.
No doubt we'll be rehashing new managers, but we're getting other people's views. Please join us, absolutely, and value your views. Comment, like, and we'll bring them up in the next video as well.
Who knows? We might have a new manager in by then. We might be reacting.
We may do. As I say, it's a very fluid situation. So, and I don't think they're going to mess about. Hopefully not.
So we'll leave it there then. We are both kind of bitterly disappointed with Ancelotti jumping ship on us and leaving us in the lurch. And let's see what happens now. I think we've just go and cry.
I can't even cry, mate. I've got to go into work full of cop-outs, and they were giving it large last night, and they're probably going to give it large today. So yeah, great for go me.
I know some of you are still watching and have been watching for most of the video. If you could
Thank you very much.
Subscribe on YouTube, that would be great. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Andy. Bye.